Yo, what up? Kamikaze Soundwaves here, and today I'm looking at Battletoads 2020. Nah, that's not the official name, it's just Battletoads, but that's what we're gonna have to call it to make sure we don't mix it up with the original. Same way Doom came out in 2016, we had to call it Doom 2016. Yeah, it's kind of in that same boat. So anyway, I was kind of looking forward to this, had a feeling it was gonna be a mindless beat 'em up and a fun time. Also, I felt Microsoft needed a win right now and figured they'd make this a good one. So after completing it only on solo and about 4.5 hours of gameplay, I gotta say, it was pretty fun. A lot better actually than I thought it was gonna be. There were a lot of parts I was not expecting to be in this game, but it actually was pretty enjoyable for what it was. I did play this on solo, and I gotta say first and foremost, this game is meant to be played with others. It's apparently obvious that is the way they expected you to play this game. With that being said, this game can be played up with 3 people, but only couch co-op. I mean, dude, it's 2020. Streets of Rage 4 came out not long ago and it had online. Yeah, it was only 2 people, but still. For a game that really was meant to be played and enjoyed best with friends, this was a stupid decision to not make it able to be played online. But oh well, that's Microsoft, what can you do?
This is big brain time.
So the Battletoads, since their one and only adventure 26 years ago, have been living in this underground bunker, and they are completely unaware that they have been trapped in and living out their days thinking they are superheroes. Well, they are actually let out and found out in the real world they are forgotten relics of the past and no one knows who they really are.
26 years in a fantasy bunker? You'd have to be gullible not to figure that one out. So, frogs, how you feeling? Stupid?
We're not frogs, we're toads.
The Battletoads. We're famous superheroes.
This just in. No, you're not.
They have to get jobs and it isn't fulfilling and they want to be heroes again, so Rash, Pimple, and Zitz decide, with that, adventure ho. The story is all over the place and of course not to be taken seriously, but overall, what it is, it was whatever. It was quick, fast, to the point, introduced you to the characters and the plot, and it was good enough for me. Battletoads has that look of those new cartoons that the kids watch nowadays, and honestly, I think it very colorful and vibrant, cool animations when fighting. The Toads animations and the cutscenes and on-screen action is pretty cool. Like where doing super moves includes fists turning into rockets or an arcade machine or a steaming train, it's enjoyable to look at. When fighting, you will interact with the background, the foreground. Levels are usually pretty straightforward with varied themes throughout to keep it different. Overall, it's a real nice treat for your eyes. The real star here is the overall comedy in this. It's got some clever lines for sure that are pretty funny and legit almost had me laugh out loud a few times and brought a big smile to my face.
Pimple, punch me through my brain.
I don't want to, but I will do anything for you. Are you sure?
Yeah, man, I'm sure.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna punch you through the brain. Oh God,
I love you so much.
I love you too.
There were some stinkers for sure where I rolled my eyes, but the dialogue between the Toads and others was pretty good. I sit down with my kids sometimes and watch the cartoons they watch nowadays, which is mostly all the newer stuff, and this is very reminiscent of that type of comedy. It really does have much of a more adult theme though. The scenarios, one-liners, the chemistry between the Toads and the main villains of the game would get a giggle out of you at least 2 or 3 times. I got to say, if they turned this into a show with the same drive, they would definitely get at least 2 good seasons out of this on Netflix. I would definitely watch it. While all that sounds great, this is a game and not a show, and while all that is very enjoyable, let's get into some of this gameplay. So I know what the first question is. Is it hard?
That's what she said. Michael, please.
Yeah, kinda. Don't worry, it's got some challenge, but this is the Battletoads y'all remember. So in Battletoads, you would think you'd mostly be doing this. And, well, this too. But you will also be doing this. And this. Oh yeah, this too. Oh yeah, this as well. I was really going into this thinking this would just be a beat 'em up, but there's so much more. Let's start why most people will come to Battletoads, the beat 'em up sections. These are great, when you get to do them. Yeah, this is most of the game for the first half, but not so much towards the end of the game. But while in these sections, they can be a blast. If playing solo, you will get a chance to use all the Toads, either switching them out if you die or the next Toad will step in. The one who dies has 30 seconds to respawn, so as long as you have one Toad alive, you're all good. All Toads knocked down in that 30-second time period, well, it's restarted at the checkpoint. Same goes for co-op, except for you just control one Toad at a time. Beating up enemies is extremely satisfying. The hits and combos that you can rack up is addicting, and I love the sounds they hit when punching. You just feel that punch when the Toads hit. All 3 Toads play differently. Rash is really quick and move around but does less damage. Pimple is a big brute who is slow but punches do a lot of damage. This is a good in-betweener and I actually like using him the most, but when I was having trouble, Pimple was my dude. His attacks just melt health. When I need to get the job done, he was the guy. The enemies that you will fight vary in the way they look and maybe what they attack you with, but essentially they all revolve around the same enemy types. Throwing stuff at you, simply run up and attack you, enemies that you will have to hit with a wind up to break their block, and some that you will just need to dodge until they hurt themselves to open up for an attack. Some of the combinations they put in these enemies can give for a really good challenge, but I never felt like I didn't have the tools for the job. Other than just beating the hell out of anything in your way, you get a couple other things the Toads can do to assist in combat. Spitting gum on them to freeze them and stop them for a few seconds, using your tongue to lasso to bring enemies close to you, or jumping to them. Just about after every match, enemies will drop some flies so you can regain some health. Boss battles are usually pushovers, but they're usually consist of the same things. Overall, the beat 'em up sections are a hell of a lot of fun, simple and mindless fun. They're so fun, in fact, that you'll kind of hate when they're taken away from you and you have to do other things. There are a lot of mini-games, space combat, platforming sections, and of course speeder bike sections. The speeder bike sections and the space combat are actually really fun. I felt all the other sections really just brought the gameplay to a screeching halt. I can see them being fun to do with your friends. In fact, there is one minigame that's almost made to be done with others. I still don't know how I did it solo. The speeder bike sections are now front-facing instead of side-scrolling. These are fun. The only thing is that they're really long, and they're not much of a challenge in the last couple of minutes. The space combat also is really fun. Twisted shooter action that is a blast, but it can get crazy. All these sections I think together made the game varied, and I didn't completely unenjoy them. What I did not like is the pacing and when you take part in these. The first part of the game is mostly the beat 'em up sections. Then we do space combat 3 times in a row, which is pretty challenging, and it's broken up by platforming sections that are really easy. It just felt weird. I guess they wanted to give you something easy to cool down with after doing something kinda hard. Then they throw these weird puzzle things into the mix out of nowhere. Again, all have some kind of enjoyment, but it's the placement which just boggles me. I think everything should have been spaced out more and had an equal mixture all across the game. And again, this game really wants you to play with others, from the puzzles to the combat to even the space combat. This game is definitely best enjoyed with others. Why we can't do that online perplexes me greatly. But if you can find someone to sit on the couch with and play all these different types of styles, will be much more enjoyable. It's still a fun time solo, but clearly not the way the game was meant to be played. My final thoughts. Battletoads 2020. Man, it's damn fun. Sometimes, and other times it's just okay. With so many different gameplay elements mashed in, the main thing is the beat 'em up sections that are a real treat and bring back that nostalgia. The other sections sometimes feel like a chore, and other sections are really enjoyable. The pacing of these sections and the randomness of them threw me off. A lot of beat 'em up sections were so fun, I would do anything to get back to them. If you got a friend or friends to play local with you, you will probably have a much better time than solo. The story and the artwork and the comedy across this was very enjoyable. Battletoads is on Game Pass, so if you have Game Pass, you're probably gonna play this. I think that's the main reason people have that service at this point. But if you don't, it's $20. And honestly, for $20, you have to consider all of this. This game, I finished in about 4.5 hours solo. It would be much quicker with friends. And then again, you can't play with anyone unless it's local. And when you beat the game, that's kind of it. I don't see much reasons to go back and replay this. Of course there are collectibles in each stage, and if that's your thing, have at it. But for me, once the credits rolled, I knew that was kind of it for me. I don't see myself going back to revisit this anytime soon, unless I get my kids or some friends on board to run through this game with me. I'll play through this game in one sitting. It's short. It really has great moments, interrupted by some other kind of fun moments, and others I felt were a complete chore. But with the story having so much charm and the great back and forth between characters, with it being really cool to look at, with a nostalgia soundtrack with some other cool, awesome riffs to listen to, it's worth the playthrough.
What?
I think we're being robbed.
So? We don't own anything worth stealing.
You're right. I'll go apologize. Knock, knock. Sorry, we're poor. Oh, it's just Rash wearing a diaper. I solved it!
Game Pass, this is a no-brainer, but if you're gonna fork out $20, I think there's a fair price for what's here. And it's fucking Battletoads, dude. Hell, at least I can say I beat Battletoads. I'll just leave off the 2020 part. It's not part of the title anyway. So that's all I got. I hope you enjoyed my review. I appreciate you stopping by, checking out the video. This is Kamikaze Soundwaves, and I'll check you out in the next one. Later.